Duke wins. Fatality.
What is up, people? What is up? What up, Fluffy Toke? How you doing? What up, Shroomy? How you doing, sir? All right, so a couple things. Let me see here. So, I'm about 5 minutes late. Had a couple updates on my computer that I like to do that shit very, very last minute. So, had to deal with that shit. But other than that, hope you guys had a great Saturday. I did. Um, Spent my whole damn Saturday going balls deep in this freaking research on NASA and the CIA and whatnot. So just like we thought, NASA might as well be fucking might as well be part of the military. Kind of figured out why they would say they're not. Makes a lot of sense when you really look into it and have the right documents sitting in front of you. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait for the fam to come in and go from there. Give me an opportunity to set some stuff up. Was not ready. Play some music for right now because I'm put next what.
Yeah.
Can't play that one again because I've played that one the fuck out. Find something else for you guys. Like I said, just gonna bullshit for a minute until everyone gets in here. Yeah, no. So in part of this little research thing I'm doing, um, I had to watch a few of the Donald Trump press conferences and shit. Man, I can't believe our fucking president. It's the way he talks. He can't. He has the worst case of ADD ever. Insane. Yeah, see that I was gonna watch it, Fluff, but just didn't even look right. It looked. Ugh. All right, let me see. I think letting that point. So copyright strike and get it. Oh well.
Yeah.
Back, Fluffy. Who's fighting right now? They're probably still in. Just started. Right, just out of the undercard, so it's about a week fights anyway. Remy, what up? All right, good. Let's go ahead and get into this. Got enough people. It's recording anyway, so um, this is just you guys were here yesterday, then you'll make 100% sense of what I'm doing. If not, just so you guys can get a quick recap. A lot of us have always questioned whether or not the NASA is part of the military, or are they not? But there's so many here, theirs, and everyone saying no, no, they're not part of the military. They're a civilian uh, entity. Well, that's why I decided to start doing some digging, and I came across the document you guys saw yesterday, and that was let's see where it is. This one right here. Told you I wasn't ready. So it was this one, NASA and the military's secret relationship. Basically, uh, what I read off yesterday was the beginning of NASA. It started off as the NACA. Kind of read off some other things. Came across a lot of wonderful, wonderful stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that, so you guys can stop hearing me rant. Get into this. There it is. Okay, so let's go over kind of real quick what I went over yesterday. Kind of went over what basically NASA's beginning during the Cold War, into the Cold War, space race, blah blah blah. Their connection with the CIA, connection with the Department of Defense, and I kind of stopped right around there. And then where was it? Okay, so the next part that is pretty damn important, that really sums up and shows exactly the true colors of their relationship, is these next few sections. Now this is going to probably be, it's not going to be too long. Kind of gone over it like 12 times today, so won't be too bad. What's up, Glad? How you doing, sir? Now, like I said, these are what you guys are looking at right now is the editor's website, his story basically. In this story, he has added in the official documents, which I will also be showing you guys as we go through this, just so you guys can see it. Again, nope, I forgot. I will put the link in the chat by the end of the stream at some point when I get a second. I'll put the link to this website into the chat so you guys have the opportunity to see it and get through it. If you guys are not that patient, yes, yesterday's live stream has it in the description. So if you want to go to there real quick, come back, and you can even follow along. It doesn't matter to me. Gonna kind of skip over a couple of things here. Not that they're not important, but in the sake of live stream and me hating to fucking read anyway, that's what we're gonna do. So one of the main things I wanted to start on was definitely, let's see, I had it written down. One second. All right, let me see here. Okay, so what I definitely wanted to start on was the main meat and potatoes of what I've gotten so far, and it had a lot to do with whether or not or how would you miscue what whether or not NASA and entities are actually one and one. So we'll start off with see where it is. Paper. Okay, so here it is. We're gonna go to, here we go. Okay, so this is this paragraph is section is basically NASA's application, satellites, and national security requirements. All right, so we're going to start off this way. Second paragraph, civilian scientists needed geodetic data to determine the size and shape of the Earth for other purposes, which I'm going to stop real quick and say I found that to be pretty damn funny when I read that. by this time it's 1960-ish. Um, I thought for 2,000 years they knew the shape, but yet here scientists are needing these satellites to shape, I guess. Kind of funny to me. Um, while the DoD required its primary for the targeting of, long range missiles, because satellite geodesy results in much more accurate measurements than traditional ground, sea, and air surveys. The DoD and NASA established the Joint AN. Um, for those of you who don't know, I do have the link to that, and I'll go ahead and read that after this. What the Joint AN Geodetic Satellite Program is. In the 1960s, to help meet their needs, however, NASA refuses to participate until the DoD agreed that most of the data would be unclassified. Now that's going to be our first document. That is this one right here. Again, like I said, guys, these documents probably going to have to find it and get zoom real close because you can't see it, but I'm zoomed up. I got it on a big screen, and it's still kind of hard to read, but it is an official document. Everything's on there. This one is actually 4 pages long. See, but it is there. And then I'll go ahead and we'll go over this real quick. This is the joint venture AN, as they called it. It stands for Army, Navy, NASA, Air Force. As it reads, it says, was the first dedicated satellite geodesy. It featured Xeron, flashing lights, and radio transponder for tracking of satellites. The ANS satellites weighed 160 kilograms. Where else? By pinpointing the satellite's position, precise geodetic calculations could be made. Later, SEOR transponders were flown to decipher or the dedicated satellites. My bad. Project GAN was truly cooperative efforts involving the DoD, NASA, and other civilian agencies. Several observational systems were developed and improved during AN. These systems included geodetic cameras, electronic ranging Doppler. Knowledge gained by Project AN was also useful in the development of laser ranging systems. And they launched that one in 1962, or they launched 2 of them. Only one actually made it to space in 1962. All right, so back to this. All right, so now this is kind of where it gets interesting. This is kind of where I kind of saw the back and forth of these 2 agencies and how and why this was going on. So when I started this research, this document that I'm reading now, it doesn't go back very far. It literally goes back at the beginning of NASA's being around, 1958. What's up, Teddy? How you doing, Bahar? Um, this is where I am now 100% convinced that they are one. The idea that NASA is a civilian agency, to me, makes sense in a second, for why they call it that. So basically, I go back, and I'm not sure how many people knew about it, but during the Cold War, or during the World War I and World War II, NASA wasn't NASA, it was NASCA, NACA. It stands for the National Aeronautical, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's here nor there. They started that in 1915. Basically, they were the NASA of the plane world. I'm trying to look through my notes for the name of it so I don't everyone run around going, Sean said it was called blah blah blah. But basically, what they were doing, their jobs were to innovate and make planes as best as possible for war times. what ended up happening is at the end of World War II, beginning of the Cold Wars, Europe actually started taking strides on us on our plane manufacturing, and basically NASCA couldn't handle the beating, I guess you would call it. Um, for some odd reason, which I still to this day have not been able to find in any website anywhere, um, regarding to why uh, NASCA became NASA, why the government, and before I start, NASCA was a government agency. That was 100%. We know that for a fact. Why they changed it over didn't make sense to me. So that's when I started going deeper and deeper into figuring out what was going on. And basically, what ends up happening is NASCA is still running everything, right as um, the Cold War was getting starting up and everything. And what ends up happening is Russia and the United States start catching, they're noticing that Germany has these rockets, these missiles, these rockets that are able to cover large ground, and they want that technology. Well, now that they both know they have this technology, now there's a worry. Remember, during this Cold War, some of you guys may be too young to even have learned this, let alone known about it. But during the Cold War, I mean, the nuclear attacks, all that shit, that was real. That was a real worry that the United States and Russia had with each other. So basically, this is where it got fishy to me. It didn't make sense that right when this happens, when all this rocketry and space talk starts happening, NASCA decides to turncoat, and the advisor of NASCA wrote a memo to the president, basically saying that they needed to start a different agency, an agency that would be able to develop space technology far better than they did. And so in 1958, I think, yeah, 1958, it was the I don't want to kill the name. The Registration of Space Objects Act was enacted. There's another one that I gotta find the name of it so I don't kill it when I do come across it again. But basically, what ends up happening is they form NASA. But when they form NASA, publicly they decided to call it a um, civilian agency, which would only only be doing things, research and development under the guidance of peaceful and scientific research only. Nothing to do with war, which seemed funny to me because just a year prior to that, um, the whole rockets and space rate, the space race basically started, and it didn't make sense that they would just all of a sudden just not be worrying about this, the Cold War situation. So they make NASA civilian agency. I believe that they called it a civilian agency so that when looked at, they weren't being looked at as what are you doing in guides of if a war starts. They were looking at it as, uh, you know, we're, don't look at them. They're not part of this, which seemed funny to me. And then I realized, basically, what ends up happening is, because I've worked for government installations before, and what ends up happening is the government has a set budget. At the end of the year, if they spend less than that budget, they make less than that budget. So what ends up happening is, say the DoD gets through a fiscal year, fiscal year is what they call it, and they have NASA under their belts. That's billions and billions of dollars. Well, if the next year they don't spend that same amount, they lose a lot of money. So what better way to be able to get more funds than to have two separate agencies, one not being government, because now you get your your government money, and you get your civilian tax money. That would make perfect sense to why they even called them a civilian agency. Now, as I read into this, it's going to become insanely clear that they're not. We're going to get into this also. The space shuttle, Space Shuttle Columbia, Endeavour, those were actually funded mainly by the DoD and the Air Force. Not only were they funded by them, but the way they were built under the guidelines of the Department of Defense and the Air Force, mainly to be able to take their satellites and their spy, all their equipment in the space shuttle and make sure it was able to do it. And with that, they paid a large chunk of what it costs to build these space shuttles. When I read that, I went, okay, if it's a civilian agency and has nothing to do with the government, why would the government pay so much? And that's when I came across the stuff like, basically, they paid majority of it. It got to the point where NASA wasn't willing to budge. They weren't. Next one, 5 satellite launched from 1964 to 1968. But the DoD obtained it from measuring devices on its own satellites, such as Corona and the CR. For the most part, DoD refused to share with NASA the raw data from its own satellites and preceded data more accurate than it could derive solely from the NGSP. The resulting conflict between DoD and NASA over the practices was brought to the attention of President Johnson in 1968. But there was no indication that this was resolved. I have the document on that one. Kind of runs through basically NASA's version and then DoD's version of we don't feel that we need to. Exactly, Fluffy. Yeah, if the government makes $1 million one year and the following year they make 700,000, the following year after that they only get 700,000. They don't get everything. All right, so okay, so the next part is trying to remember which documents. Okay, so NASA planned on launching the Geodynamic Experimental Ocean Satellite 3 with a radar altimeter with data would generate more accurate gravity models than any measuring devices previously flown. The data would be used to meet civilian requirements by the U.S. Navy to improve the accuracy of its submarine launches, ballistic missiles, because it was also had the potential to be used by Soviets for the same purpose. The DoD requested that NASA to encrypt that data, limit the acquaintance of data over the ocean areas, uh, over the ocean areas where Soviet ballistic missile submarines operated, or delay the planned April 1975 launch until the issue could be resolved. It also requested encryption of the data from the even more capable radar altimeter planned for CSAT-A. NASA rejected this request, but quickly agreed to restrict the. So it says NASA and the DoD continue to fight over encrypting the CSAT-A radar altimeter data. 1967, NASA proposed changing the orbital inclination to avoid encryption, but DoD rejected this on the basis that original orbit would result in the best data for improving the long-range missiles, the accuracy. Once the new DoD civilian leadership took the position that the Soviets would not benefit from either the GOES-3 or the CSAT radar altimeter data, President Carter ordered in May 1977 that all of it be openly diminished or demonstrated. Or where is it? Trying to find that. Oh, lost my place. Okay, so uh, next part is the part that I felt was the biggest red flag to me. This is, once they start, once they kind of got their stuff worked in and worked out, I guess you would call it. It was once it would became. This is where the CIA steps in. This is where the space shuttles and their true reasoning for using them came in. Uh, NASA's longest and deepest cooperation with the defense intelligence agencies was in the was the shuttle program. For the only time in its history, it used their requirements to determine the size and capacity of the spacecraft. Lone classified missions given priority to them utilized a secure command and control system and withheld mission information from the public. Those space shuttles were not made to explore space. Those space shuttles were made to get spy equipment up. There are several works that gave very good overviews of the NASA DoD interaction. With little support for its purposes, a proposed space station or Mars missions, NASA soon focused on the reusable shuttle as a major post-Apollo program, worked closely with the DoD to ensure it met all of its requirements. These mandates mandated a larger shuttle, cargo bay, payload capacity, and cross range than NASA needed, but it endorsed them to ensure DoD's support for the project. Nixon approved a development of the full-size shuttle that met DoD's specifications in 1972, with these first operational missions scheduled for 1978. Clear as day right there, people. It's not hit or miss. It's not a bullshit thing. The document 43, if you've got the website yourself already, will explain all of this. DoD quickly studied possible employments of the shuttle in its variety of missions. It initially planned to fly about 20 shuttle missions annually from 1978 to 1990, and would transition all of its payloads from expandable launch vehicles, ELVs, to the shuttle once it proved reliable and economical. It says it all right there. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer that the government has been using NASA since the very beginning. They call it a civilian agency, so whatever NASA wants to do, they don't got to pay for, but whatever the government military needs, they're willing to pay for it and build it. Trust me, the government does not spend billions on a space shuttle unless they know it will launch at their every whim and every need. Period. Here it is. Although NASA's paid for a vast majority of the program's costs, the DoD had substantially outlays for such items as building the Vandenberg Air Force Base launch complex in its entirety, the upper stage to place payloads into higher orbits. When the Office of Management and Budget proposed 1977 to scale back the program because of the cost overruns and technical problems, the DoD initially argued that both the Vandenberg and Kennedy Space Center launch complexes and 5 orbiters must be built. However, after the DoD decided that a complete 5th orbiter was not critical, President Carter directed that both complexes, 4 orbiters, be built, with an option to acquire the 5th in the future. As it always had, the DoD refused to pay any costs to the orbiters. DoD planned to transition all payloads to the shuttle at both complexes and at the end of the backup launch capacity on the ELVs by 1985. It also planned to begin flying from the shuttle that year. That year, new satellites that, because of their configuration or weight, could not be launched on existing ELVs. The Carter administration again addressed the continuing cost overruns and technical problems of 1980, which had forced a delay in the first orbital flight. DoD civilian leadership continued to strongly support the program, agreed to provide the needed extra funds out of the Air Force budget. And like Fluffy Toke was saying a second ago, for them to do that is huge because they're not going to spend that money next year, which means they're not going to get that back. Why would they do that unless they had a huge gamble involved in it to win, something to gain out of it? The defense and intelligence agencies became increasingly worried about the shortfalls, practicality, and respect to the shuttle's inabilities to launch any reconnaissance satellites from Vandenberg. After a long battle with NASA, the DoD got President Reagan's approval in 1985 to acquire 10 new ELVs, ultimately designed the Titans, that could launch payloads the same size and weight the shuttle was designed to handle. Documents there. Before the Challenger accident in January 1986, fly again for almost 3 years. The accident caused great delays in launching their payloads. NASA also canceled a variety of all the performance enhancing measurements for safety reasons, and thus the shuttle was still incapable of carrying any reconnaissance satellites from Vandenberg and satellite payloads from Kennedy. President Reagan directed in 1986 that the DoD acquire more Titan 4s, and new medium lift ELVs. After the eight dedicated classified shuttle missions from 1988 to 1992, the DoD no longer used its place satellites in orbit and began launching all of them on ELVs once again. It says it right there. There's no question in my eyes to the fact that NASA has always worked for the government, not civilians, because it wasn't until all those so think about it that way. They say they landed on the moon, but they only really, to me, said they landed on the moon because the Soviet Union did, or because the Soviet Union launched Sputnik. The only reason they had to say they had all this technology figured out and they were doing all these wonderful things like the Apollo missions is to one up Russia. But once the Cold War ended, don't you guys realize they didn't talk about going to the fucking moon anymore. They didn't talk about exploring space like that. That was all bullshit. I mean, realistically, the whole time, as far as we know, all they've been doing is launching military shit. That's it. So, in this, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a part 3 because this isn't even it. From all the stuff I found, this is not even it. It goes much, much deeper, and it's crazy to even have the idea that NASA is not basically part of the military infrastructure. It's ridiculous not to think so. Let me see here. Yeah, and then if you go, and I beg you guys to do this because it'll be a big help to me. Try to find any website, any document NASA even has that will even utter anything that was. All right, I think I'm back. All right, yep, okay. So far, so good. Check. There we go. All right, so I don't know what the hell that was all about. My OBS basically told me that my server, my stream key, and all that stuff wasn't there, but it was. So I'm back. What's up, McVice? Uh, Hopefully that doesn't happen again. That was actually pretty weird. I actually had to completely close down my OBS and restart it. At the same time, I'm hoping everything stayed on. Am I buffering right now? Trying to fix this and all that good stuff. My apologies, guys. I have no idea what the hell just happened. But I can fix it right now. That was weird. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, here we go. We're good. Okay, back on. Everything looks good. Green lights, green lights. All right, here we go. Yeah. So, like I said, cut and dry. There's gonna be another. There will be a part 3. Um. God damn it. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna shut it down. I did say what I had to say. I have no idea what is happening right now because I got green lights. I shouldn't be buffering. Let's see. Yeah, because I'm on my watch page right now and I can see it just lagging out real bad. Yeah, I don't know why. I got green lights everywhere. Oh well, if I'm good now, then okay, cool. But yeah, I was like I said, I had to literally shut everything down and restart my OBS, which is kind of weird. I don't usually have to restart my OBS if a bad connection happens. I usually just have to sit back and wait. So we'll see if that helps at all. But yeah, I guess I'll open up the panel. I don't know how long this will last. My internet is it's not even see that's the problem. It's not even my internet because I have green lights everywhere. So it's kind of weird right now. Very very weird. Okay, so yeah, I mean between how NASA started, which is just weird as shit, and how everything is now with NASA, seems it's all too odd to me. Again, like I said, unfortunately I had to watch a lot of Trump. We call him damn presentation or where you talks or whatever panels or whatever you call them. Especially this one where he announced about the space agency, and that will be tomorrow's live stream where I'm gonna go in like we've had a space military since the 30s. I don't understand. Like I get what he's saying. It will be the first, you know, like we have the army, we have the navy. Well, yeah, we're gonna have a space military. But I mean, the military's been involved in all of this the whole time. Uh, I think a few nights ago I read off a few of them. It's to me it's just ridiculous how they're making this seem like this is this new innovative thing they're going to be doing. The worst part about listening to Trump was his plan, and this is exactly what he said. He said within a year they're going to clean up space. Ready? How space is trafficked by civilians. He said within a year, mind you. I think he's off his fucking rocker. What's up, Sheena? How you doing? Well, I mean, I kind of got. I honestly, I believe that NASA got its start under the guides to hide what was really going on and hide the fact that it's always been a military agency. Um, it for one, it brings more money. Two, it takes the eyes off the military more so, and it's basically just it's been a cover up. I mean, like I was just saying, for the past what 30, 40, whatever, what shit, 40 years, it's literally been just a military installation. I mean, we can't say what's been going in and out of those fucking shuttles, and as far as we can 100% tell, is that from what we're reading, these documents, these are official these are documents that were released at some point. They've always been working with them. So who's like this bullshit when they say they're not? Crazy. Um, Actually, people, I do see my OBS jumping around like a bad habit. So I'm not gonna open up the panel. Um, I like I said, I am 100% going live tomorrow. I'd like to go live a lot earlier, um, but when I do go live on that, it's all gonna be about this whole new space military, and I'm gonna show you 100% that the only new thing is the words coming out of that puppet Trump's mouth and the word or the, the new formed grouping of space military. Otherwise, we've had them. We've had them for a very long time. Matter of fact, all that space debris they say is flying around. Who do you think tracks it? Yeah. Um, I have there's an installation a few miles from me that does has direct laser, and it's also an FAA surveillance site. It's all ran by the United States Air Force, right? If you go on any website and you look up where they're at, it's what's it called? It's called Morehouse. Let's go and find out real quick. But it's a very known area in Laguna Mountains. It's called the old base was JC1. It says it's been closed down completely of any military activity since 1999. They're there. I did a walk, a launch. I'll show you pictures right now of it. They're there, 100%. It's crazy that they say there no military, nothing going on up there. Yet there still are. They say the people that are doing the laser thing are astronomers. But I mean, I can 100% show different. It's crazy. Maps for right now. Share screen. I mean, if you really think about it, it's really insulting how they treat us, and to act like it's just fucking crazy. All right, so yes, people, this is my area. It's where I do live. Um, Gamba, find the area. Okay, here we go. Are going to be right in area Sunrise Highway. There it is. Okay, I mean right here, you can see it for yourselves. Actually, let me go ahead and share the actual screen first. My apologies. Right here, see Mount Laguna, Monument Peak. That's there. Now we're gonna go to another site so I can show you how they literally classify it as not there. Air Force. Air Force. Here we go. The very first one I picked. All right, look, Mount Laguna Air Force Station, AC about the ID, is a closed United States Air Force general surveillance radar station. located 24.3 miles northeast of Kitati, California. It was closed in 1981 by the Air Force and turned over to the Federal Aviation Administration. Today, the site is part of a Joint Surveillance Systems (JSS) designated by NORAD and as Western Air Defense Sector Ground Equipment Facility. Sorry, it was J30. But yeah, see, they say it's closed. They're still there. 100%. I mean, I've seen them there. And just so everyone knows, what you're looking at right there, that's not what it looks like at all. None of those things. There's only one of those buildings there. There, like one of those, the far one in the back on the right, that's there. The rest of those things are, it's not there. None of those other places exist there. There. So yeah, so let me go. I'll even go ahead and show you guys. Show you guys my hike up there. So you can see the pictures that I took up there. See my son. Oh, don't need to see that one. Yes. You have to go through an album. I'm gonna go ahead and double check, make sure what I can show you guys. All right, so here we go. Nope, nope. All right, gotta find it again. All right, here we go. So again, like I said, this is the site right here. That I just showed you in that picture. Like I said, this is their laser sight. This is not the laser that you're looking at right there. Very operational, up and running. Everything is still good to go. The laser is actually in these trailers. You have a picture on here that I got off a website of it opened. Like I said, this is one of those Doppler looking radar things that were standing up. It's the only one left. There's no other ones up there. Like I said, see these signs here. They radio frequency may exceed safety limits. Visible and or invisible laser radiation. U.S. property. No trespassing. Yep. There you have it. I mean, still there. 100%. Still open. I've seen trucks up there dozens of times. Had crazy situations up there. Like this will work. Oh, it will. Oh, okay, this is a screenshot. It's not exactly what I was trying to show you guys. But yeah, see. So I mean, it's clear. I've even gone up there, shown that they're still functional. They're still up there. They're still in their fucking military trucks. They're not. They haven't gone anywhere. And that goes along with the other installations that are in this area that are quote unquote not there. But I'm done with my rants. Yeah, Sheena. Actually, GM came in earlier, and he had said something about the moon, and I went outside and looked at it. It's literally huge, right in your face. It's like, hey, Glovers, how come you don't want to talk about the moon changing size tonight? you know, Crazy. But yeah, like I said, I have to get back into this research. I have a lot more to go over and cover. Um, get that out to you guys. Tomorrow, I'll be going over the space military situation, like I said. There's some other things I want to go over. Tomorrow will be that topic will be very short. So, Sheena, McVice, anybody, come on the panel tomorrow. There'll be lots of time for it. I'm gonna fly through that topic of it because I was actually researching that prior to this whole NASA DoD collusion stuff. So, guys, appreciate you being here. I'm sorry for the little glitch in the stream earlier. Gonna get back into this research. I got another all-nighter to do. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have time to show up, and I do appreciate you guys being here. For me to have a reason to be getting this information out. Kind of go over a couple things that I wanted to remember. If you guys are on the Discord, if you're not on the Discord, in my link is 24/7 Flat Earth Discord channel. Helioskeptic is actually now starting to record their voice chats over there. So if you don't have Discord but you want to hear what's going on, the link's in my chat for that link on YouTube, and the link to the Discord is in there too. Check that out. Other than that, Dreads is his channel. He took his channel down after a bunch of strikes and getting sick of it. He is actually officially on Twitch now. Link's down there as well. So please go check that out and make sure you guys subscribe. He's got some real big things coming up with a new platform for everybody to get on, and you don't have to fucking worry about being kicked off of anything. Okay, yeah, definitely, Shane. I'll definitely put that link in there. What else is there? Trying to remember. If you guys haven't, go check out Legendary Duke. I think I put the link in the chat yesterday. Hopefully you guys got to that. I'm trying to think of anything else. I got Dreads, I got the Discord. I got my Discord in there. Go check that out. What else is there? That's it. Love you guys. Thank you guys for being here. See you guys tomorrow.
Duke wins. Fatality.